Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's absolute circus, if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, because what you are about to witness is the kind of courtroom carnage that only happens once in a lifetime. Today, we are dissecting the cross-examination of Sifiso Gwabini Zungu in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. And I am telling you now, this man walked into court thinking he was going to testify. But what actually happened was a public execution by none other than State Prosecutor George Baloyi. This is the same witness who told the court he was tortured by police, beaten like a 5-ton drum full of water, suffocated with plastic bags at a cemetery, and forced to sign a statement he never read. But here's the problem. When Advocate Baloyi started asking questions, the whole story began to fall apart like a cheap suit in a rainstorm. We are talking about contradictions piled on top of contradictions, lies exposed in real time, and a bribery confession that changed amounts right there on the witness stand. I am not exaggerating when I say this is one of the most brutal cross-examinations I have ever seen in a South African courtroom, and by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why this witness just handed the state a gift-wrapped victory on a silver platter. So buckle up, grab your popcorn, and let us get into this absolute disaster of a testimony. Now, before we even get to the cross-examination fireworks, we need to understand what was happening at the beginning of this court session, because Judge Ratha was not playing games. The court had just come back from the December recess, and there was a massive legal fight brewing about whether Zungu's statement was even admissible. The defense was screaming for a trial within a trial. Newspapers were writing about it, legal experts were debating it on television, and the judge decided he needed to set the record straight about what a trial within a trial actually is and why it was not applicable here. Let us roll the tape and watch the judge school everyone in the courtroom about basic criminal procedure.
Just one thing I just want to check with you guys. Because you are saying we should have a trial within a trial. I even read some newspaper reports about so-called C lawyers saying they're surprised why we don't have a trial within a trial. When do you have a trial within a trial? Anybody can answer that.
Well, this issue has been debated at length. A trial within a trial is held to determine the admissibility of a statement by an accused which is being disputed.
Right. This way there. Which statement is being disputed?
Yes.
Is the statement disputed here in this matter?
Well, my lord, the evidence of Mr. Sifiso Gwabini is on record.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yes.
What is this disputing?
Yeah.
That's what I think. Even myself, misdirected myself for the last time. What is being disputed?
Now let me pause here because what the judge just did was absolutely brilliant. He basically told the entire legal fraternity, including the newspapers and the so-called senior counsel out there, that they do not understand basic criminal procedure. A trial within a trial happens when an accused person disputes the admissibility of their own confession or statement. But here is the thing. Sifiso Zungu is not an accused person in this trial. He is a witness. So all this noise about needing a trial within a trial was complete nonsense from the beginning. The judge is sitting there asking the most obvious question in the world. What statement is being disputed? And Advocate Baloyi is fumbling around trying to answer because he knows the judge is right. This is not about a statement. This is about evidence that was given by a witness who then made allegations of assault against the police. The judge even admitted that he misdirected himself initially, which shows you how humble and honest this man is. But now he has clarity, and he is about to drop a legal bomb on everyone in that courtroom. Let us continue because the judge is about to explain why this case is so legally unusual and why the normal rules do not quite apply here.
Let me tell you the biggest problem in this case, evidential-wise. That's why you were not able to cross-examine.
Yes.
Because in this case, we have this odd situation where your own state witness, whom you consulted, made a statement, right?
Yes, indeed, my lord.
Right. And subsequently, you don't use him, fine, for whatever reason. You don't use him, okay? Then he comes in and gives evidence for the defense. But he does that after you have closed the state case. Are you with me?
Yes, indeed, my lord.
In other words, whatever he says in the box, and I don't want to advise anybody, whatever he says in the box after you have closed the case, if that evidence was not heard by a person who interacted with him, do you think that is fair?
This is where the judge absolutely nails the problem. The state consulted with Sifiso Zungu, took a statement from him, and then decided not to use him as a witness. That is fine. That is their choice. But then the defense calls him, and he comes to court and tells a completely different story, claiming he was assaulted and tortured and forced to sign things he did not read. Now here is the legal dilemma. The state closed their case already, which means they cannot just bring new witnesses to rebut what Zungu is saying. But Zungu is making serious allegations against specific police officers, saying they kicked him, suffocated him, and coerced a statement out of him. So the judge is asking the most important question: how is it fair that these police officers get accused of serious crimes and they do not get a chance to respond? That is where Section 186 of the Criminal Procedure Act comes in. The judge has the power to call witnesses himself if he believes it is necessary for a fair trial, and that is exactly what he decided to do. He is going to subpoena Brigadier Janinda, Sergeant Mokola, Sergeant Mokani, and all the others that Zungu accused, and they are going to come to court and tell their side of the story. This is not a trial within a trial. This is the judge exercising his inquisitorial duty to get to the truth. Now let us fast forward to where things get really spicy, because Advocate Baloyi is about to start his cross-examination, and he is coming in hot with questions about money, bail, and police corruption.
We're talking about what you testified in the evidence in chief. You testify that Sergeant Mokani, in fact, you said the driver of the red motor vehicle said bail in the amount of 2,000 will be needed.
Lana ke ngikufundela ubufakazi bakho yinto lena eyakhulunywa wena la enkantolo wathi ke umshayeli wale moto ebomvu wakutshela wathi imali ke ozodedelwa ngayo kuzaba u2000
And they,
I saw him this morning. I think he should be called to explain, because now it will appear as if we are telling lies.
Hold on. Did you catch that? Zungu just admitted that he saw Sergeant Mokani this morning, meaning today, the day he is testifying, and now he is saying Mokani should be called to explain because otherwise it will look like Zungu is lying. But here is the problem. Zungu already testified in chief that the bail amount was 2,000 rand, that is on the court record, and now suddenly there is confusion about whether it was 2,000 or 3,000. Baloyi is reading back to him his own testimony, showing him exactly what he said before, and Zungu is already panicking because he knows he is about to get caught in a lie. This is textbook cross-examination technique. You do not accuse the witness of lying right away. You just calmly remind them what they said before, and then you let them dig their own grave. Let us see what happens next, because this is where the wheels completely fall off.
yes, Mr. Zungu, we're trying to establish as to why is there a difference between what you the amount that you testified about in your evidence in chief, namely 2,000 rand, and the amount that you now mentioned, namely 3,000.
Lana ke sizama ukuthola ukuthi kungani ukhuluma ke okubili okwahlukile. Ngaphambilini kathi uthula ubufakazi wakhuluma ngo2000, manje ke namuhla usukhuluma ngo3000. Yilokho nje ezama ukuthola ukuthi kungani ukhuluma into ezahlukene.
Kungani ubaba uNakhuza umshushisi ekhulume ngo200 ezokhuluma ngo2000 ngimtshene mina ukuthi imali engaka. Kungani nekhulume lokho?
And then why is it then that the state made mention of 200 and then 2,000 and then I mentioned the figure? So now it must appear as if I'm telling lies.
No, the 200 was meant to be 2,000. Now
2,000 knows it about 3.
Yes,
200 knows it about 2.
This is comedy gold right here. Zungu is literally arguing with the prosecutor about his own testimony, trying to blame the state for the confusion about the amounts. First he said 2,000 rand, now he is saying 3,000 rand, and he is trying to say that maybe the prosecutor misheard him or wrote it down wrong. But here is the thing, when you testify in court, there is a record, there are notes, there are multiple people writing down what you say. The judge himself is about to confirm that he also wrote down 2,000 rand, not 3,000. So Zungu cannot blame this on a misunderstanding or a mistake. He clearly said 2,000 rand when he testified in chief, and now he is changing it to 3,000 rand, and Baloyi is just sitting there letting him squirm. This is what happens when you do not tell the truth. You cannot keep your story straight because lies do not have the same consistency as the truth. Let us continue, because the judge is about to intervene and make this even worse for Zungu.
So Zungu, please.
Sorry, you know what? We're just going on. I also registered 2,000, me. I'm sure even me, I'm mad. I've got notes here. You see, I write everything. I write everything. I also wrote 2,000, not 3,000, okay? So me and Mr. Baloyi, maybe we were mad.
Mhlambe ke nathi sekukuthi ke sesiyahlanya-ke kodwa nami ke kuma kuloko engikubhalile-ke phansi ngoba ngiyabhala njengoba khulunywa la enkantolo ngabhala u-2,000.
Do you have any comments why there's a difference between the amount that you mentioned in your evidence in chief and the amount that you're mentioning today?
Oh my goodness, the judge just destroyed him. Judge Ratha is known for his sense of humor, but this was not really a joke. This was a judicial smackdown disguised as a joke. He is saying, look, I write everything down, I have notes, I wrote 2,000 rand, Mr. Baloyi wrote 2,000 rand, so either we are both mad or you are changing your story. Now watch what Zungu says next, because this is where he completely loses the plot.
Ukuthi le nkulumo ngengikhona ukuyichaza ngoba ngendlela esekhulumeka ngayo manje sengathi mina khona lapha engiphoqa khona.
Okay. It's now that I won't be able to say this or to mention this because now it appears now that I'm being forced somewhere.
No one is forcing you anything. We're saying in your evidence in chief, you mentioned that Sergeant Mokgoatlheng requested you to give him 2,000 rand so that you can be admitted to bail. But today you are mentioning that you gave him an amount of 3,000 rand.
So now Zungu is claiming that he feels forced, like he is being pressured to say something he does not want to say. But nobody is forcing him to do anything. Baloyi is simply asking him to explain why he said 2,000 rand before and 3,000 rand now. This is a straightforward question that any honest witness should be able to answer, but Zungu cannot answer it because there is no good answer. He either lied before when he said 2,000, or he is lying now when he says 3,000. And either way, his credibility is shot. This is what happens when you try to embellish your story or change details. You end up looking like a liar even if parts of your story are true. And Baloyi is not letting this go, because this is not just about the amount of money. This is about whether anything this witness says can be trusted. But here is where it gets even better, because Baloyi is about to hit him with the knockout punch about how bail actually works in South Africa.
Mr. Zungu, bail is paid in court. Why did you give the money to Sergeant Mokgoatlheng on your version?
Uma umuntu ekhokha ibhayili ikhokhwe enkantolo. Kwakungani uze unikeze uSergeant Mokgoatlheng imali ngoba ibhayili ikhokhwa enkantolo?
Ngicela ukuthi nimbuzele yena ngoba uyena wadinga imali.
Please ask him because he's the one who requested money from me. I've never been arrested, so I don't know where money gets paid in court.
This is absolutely devastating. Baloyi just exposed the entire bribery scheme with one simple question. In South Africa, bail is paid in court, not to individual police officers. Everyone knows this. It is basic legal procedure. If you are arrested and granted bail, you or your family goes to the court clerk and pays the bail money there, and you get a receipt. You do not hand cash to a sergeant in a red car and hope for the best. But Zungu is trying to claim that he did not know this because he had never been arrested before. Now that might sound reasonable at first, but think about it. If you have never been arrested before, why would you just assume that bail is paid directly to a police officer? That does not make sense. The only reason you would hand cash to a cop is if you knew it was a bribe, not bail. And Zungu is admitting that he gave the money to Mokani because Mokani asked for it, which is literally a confession to participating in a bribery scheme. Whether he was the victim or a willing participant is debatable, but either way, he just admitted to a crime on the witness stand. Let us continue, because Baloyi is not done yet. He wants to know why Zungu never tried to get his money back or report this to anyone.
Have you taken any steps to recover the money?
Kukhona yini osuke wakwenza ukuthi uthole imali yakho noma imali yakho ibuye? Kukhona okwenzile yini ukuthi with nothing?
Why not?
Kungani?
Ngizoyaphi mina?
Where will I go?
But you said Lungisani was present when you handed the money to Sergeant Mokgoatlheng.
Ushilo ukuthi uLungisani wayekhona nkathi unikeza uSergeant Mokgoatlheng imali.
Yebo yakhona.
Yes, he was there.
Yes. Why have you not laid charges to recover the money?
Kungani? Ungaya ngovula icala ukuthi kubuye imali yakho.
Ngilivulele bani icala ngoba ngisho ngabatshela ukuthi ngihamba ngovula icala bayengishayela bathi bona ababoshwa bona ngizovulela bani icala abantu abangaboshwa.
Who am I going to lay charges against? Because I did make mention of the fact that I wanted to go and lay charges for the fact that I was assaulted. They then informed me that where am I going to lay the charges because they are the ones that effect arrest. They do not get arrested.
So Zungu is saying he wanted to lay charges about being assaulted, but someone told him there is no point because the police arrest people, they do not get arrested themselves. Now, this is a common belief in South Africa, unfortunately, that police officers are above the law and you cannot do anything about police brutality. But here is the problem with Zungu's story. If you genuinely believe the police are untouchable, why would you come to court now and testify against them? Why would you risk your life to tell this story if you believe nothing can be done about it? The answer is that his story does not add up. He is claiming he was too afraid to report the assault or the bribery at the time. But now he is brave enough to testify in the biggest murder trial in South African history, accusing these same officers of torture and corruption. That does not make sense unless something else is motivating him to testify, and the state is clearly suggesting that motivation is to help the defense get the accused off. Now let us get to the next bombshell, because Baloyi is about to expose another huge problem with Zungu's story, the fact that his case was never enrolled.
Your case was not enrolled, as we've shown to you, according to the cell registers. Do you know as to why it was not enrolled?
Kubhaliwe-ke lana ukuthi wase uyadedela. Isizathu sokudedela kwakho kungoba icala lakho nanje kubona la kubhaliwe. Uma uye enkantolo amacala ayabhalwa kunencwadi ebhalwa kuyona amacala. Ingabe uyazi yini ukuthi kwakungani icala lakho lingekho ezincwadini zasenkantolo? Ngoba isona izathu leso esabangela ukuthi udedelwe.
Angazi.
I don't know.
And on that date, the 25th of June 2020, when your matter was not enrolled, you had already had an interview with Brigadier Gininda, is that correct?
Ngalelo langa lelo
On the 24th of June 2020.
kwatholakala ngalo ukuthi icala lakho alikho ezincwadi zasenkantolo wawuse ukhulumile no Brigadier Gininda ngithi
Ngikhuluma ukuthini kanti
had what interview with Gininda?
Yes, on the you had already had an interview with Brigadier Gininda on the 24th of June 2020.
Lana idate ekhulunywa ngayo kwakungeyi 25 wena ke kwilanga engaphambili ngeyi 24 wawuse ukhulumile naye uGininda.
Ngikhuluma ukuthini noGininda?
Interview, what interview with Gininda?
Did you have an interview with Brigadier Gininda on the 24th of June 2020?
Ingabe wakhuluma yini no Brigadier Gininda ngeyi 24 zika June 2020?
Ngikhuluma ukuthini noGininda umgcina ngamgcina bezobhasa statement noma mfundisi ebusuku.
To interview what? Because the last time I had an interaction with Gininda was when he came with Mamfundisi to write a statement. It was at night.
Yes, so you had already written a statement before Brigadier Gininda when you were released. Is that correct?
Uma udedelwa enkantolo okusho ukuthi Lalisedlulile lelanga lelo khuluma ngalo la uGinyinda wayizile kuwena ezobhala istatement noma mfundisi.
Yebo.
Yes.
Perhaps just this one aspect. You testified in evidence in chief that you consulted Dr. Sipama near the engine garage regarding your injuries. Is that correct?
Mhlambe nje lokho kokugcina ke ushilo ukuthi ke waya kuyena udokotela uSiphama ngase garage yase engine mayelana ke nabo kulimala kwakho.
Yebo ngayo.
Yes, I did.
Did he compile a report regarding your injuries?
Kunombiko awawenza ke nanjengodokotela noma awuhlanganisa ke umbiko awawenza mayela nokulimala kwakho khona wakubhala
Uhlanganisela bani?
balulalele kahle udokotela lo othi waya kuyena angithi uyile kuyena wakubona angithi udokotela uma uyombona uyabhala phansi kunephepha abhala kulona so uyabuza ukuthi udokotela khona yini awakubhala phansi ukuthi uSifiso Zungu uzile kumina nakwe ngikutholile kuyena khona yini
Yebo ngayo kuSiphama.
asiyeke yokuya khona yini awakubhala phansi yabona iphepha lelo kadokotela ufuna ukwazi umshushisi ukuthi angithi kunephepha linikwa asithi umuntu osebenzayo kunephepha ofanele uhambe nalo nalo emsebenzini yebo uyabuza ukuthi wakwenza yini lokho Dr. Sipha
Angazi ngithathe incwadi angasebenzi.
No, I didn't.
Ngisebenza.
I wasn't employed at the time, so no, there wasn't any report that was compiled.
But did you not request a medical report since you consulted him regarding your injuries?
Nanjengoba waya kuyena uya kuyena ngezathu sokuthi wawulimele okusho ukuthi mina akukho akubhala phansi yena
Akubhala phansi emabhukwini akhe.
yebo
Angicabanga ukuthi kukhona. Udokotela bakamane nje efike kwenza ukuthi angabhalanga lutho phansi.
I think that there is, or the doctor did write something, because there's no way that the doctor can just attend to you without writing anything down.
Yes, but you say you went to see him because you had injuries as a result of their assault by the police. Did he not give you a medical report?
Nanjengoba usho ukuthi waya kuyena izathu sokuthi uye kuyena ngoba wawulimele ulinyazwa ukuthi wawushaywe amaphoyisa.
Yebo.
Yes.
Did he not give you a medical report that you could use to open a case?
Manje ke akukho ayekubhale phansi akunikeza kona owawungakusebenzisa ukuthi ubophise lamaphoyisa
Wangibuza wathi yini ngayo wabophisa amaphoyisa ngamtshela ngathi angitshene emadlebeni ngathi wena waboshwa yiwa bopha abantu.
The doctor asked me as to why don't you go and then lay charges against them. I then told the doctor that they told me in my face that they do not get arrested. They are the ones that effect arrest.
So in short, you did not receive a medical report on the strength of which you could open a case. Is that correct?
Okusho ukuthi akukho owakuthola kudokotela akunikeza kona athi ungahamba uyokusebenzisa ukubophisa amaphoyisa. Ayikho into awakunikeza yona ebhaliwe.
Yimi ngaze ngimtshene konke lokho ngoba ngase ngithatha kwakushiwo ngamaphoyisa kuqala.
I'm the one who did not go as far as telling him that because I had already taken what the police had told me.
Yes, but you did not receive a medical report. Is that correct?
Kodwa akayikho incwadi wayithola kudokotela.
Ayikho.
None.
The court, please, Malota, it's almost